Welcome to Gita ODC live sessions. Today we propose to cover two shlokas, and as we discussed, we will spend 45 minutes discussing the shloka, and then the 15 minutes we will use for Q&As or any comments. So please feel free to ask any questions, and we will try to discuss that. So with that, let's get started. So a quick recap of what we covered last week, and then we will build on top of that. So in the first lesson, we said the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is known as Sankhya Yoga, and this is considered as an index chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which gives an overview of the entire Bhagavad Gita, what exactly is covered by the Bhagavad Gita. So if you study one chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, this is the chapter you need to study to get the vision. Obviously, the details are covered in the other chapters, but this chapter is going to give you the entire vision of the Bhagavad Gita. And the two major topic or the two major aha moments for a seeker when you study the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is not going to tell you to drop your worldly goals, because a lot of people think that when you become spiritual, you need to drop all your material goal. You need to run away from life. You cannot watch movies or you cannot pursue the goals you have been pursuing. No, he's just saying that elevate your goal. If you are aiming 10, aim 100. That's number one. Number two is we need to find a way, or we need to learn how to act efficiently, because are we approaching the problem in front of us with the right frame of mind, with the right attitude? So how can you approach your life in such a way that that very same worldly life becomes a tool for your spiritual upliftment as well as the material success? So this is the game changer known as Karma Yoga. So these are the two major topics covered in this chapter. And we also discussed that it is not just Arjuna's journey, it is our journey. So if you see the Gita through the lens of Arjuna, we are going to miss the Bhagavad Gita. Gita is not just taught for Arjuna. Krishna is going to talk to each and every one of us. So we need to relate our problem and try to get Krishna's advice for our own journey. It's not that once upon a time there was an Arjuna and we are trying to see how Krishna helped to live a better life for him. No, Krishna is trying to help for us. He is helping us to live an efficient, effective, and valuable life. So this is what we said. And we said, you read, reflect, discuss, and apply. This is the formula for success in Bhagavad Gita. So this is what we talked. Unfortunately, Avanti cannot join today. She is traveling, but she is going to put her comments in the Q&A forum. Just an FYI. But we will try, meaning even if one of us is available, we will try to move ahead with the class, because we will try to continue the class every week. So with that, let's get started. So before we jump in, what are all the key topics covered in the second chapter? The shloka 1 to 10, which we are going to start today, it is going to present the fundamental human problem using the example of Arjuna. So this is a kind of a recap and just building the thread on where we stopped in chapter 1. So it's Arjuna's emotional breakdown and his readiness to surrender to Krishna. When you say surrender to Krishna, don't think that it is just a physical frustration. Whenever we are in trouble, we usually don't seek help, because in a confused moment, you don't go to a mentor. So it shows the importance of having a right mentor and the ability of a right mentor to lead us. So this is the first portion. And after that, from shloka 11 to 25, probably the most important topic of the Bhagavad Gita, it is discussed. Who am I? What am I? That is probably the most important topic of the Bhagavad Gita. It is known as Atma Jnana. Atma means self, Jnana means knowledge. I want to know myself. Before I know anything else, I need to know myself. So that is the second topic. This is outstanding topic. So in 15 shlokas, you get, meaning this is too good. When you get into that, you will understand. This is like an Upanishad. Then Krishna presents the same world-ending solution, not just from a spiritual perspective. He takes a practical approach to life. So that, what exactly is that? How do you live your life practically? That is Shloka 26 to 29. And then he introduces a beautiful concept called Swadharma. Swadharma means what is my mental temperaments? How do I take a profession? How do I align my activities, aligning with my Swadharma? This is being taught in a lot of modern research. So we are going to draw a lot of parallel from there. So that is the topic of Swadharma. And after that, he comes to the complete worldly level. Even if you think materially, you need to act. You need to do your duty. So that is the next topic, topic 5. And sixth topic is probably one of the most important, again, the game-changing topic of the Bhagavad Gita. It is getting introduced in chapter 2, and chapter 3 is a complete double click of that. That is Karma Yoga. How to act efficiently, effectively, so that the very same worldly activities becomes your worship. The worship or the spiritual activities need not be going to a temple, church, or a mosque, or sitting in meditation. No, your cooking, your software engineering, your driving, everything can be converted into spiritual activities. That is the game changer. That is number 1. And number 2 is, how do I improve my efficiency in my action? That is a big topic. You see a lot of parallels from a lot of modern research here, especially the idea of flow, which won a Nobel Prize. You see a lot of insights of similar thought here. So that is Karma Yoga. And finally, Arjuna asks a question, like, if you think that there is a person who is self-realized or who has achieved the highest potential of life, what is he going to do? Is he going to run away from the world? Is he not going to smile at a child? Is he pursue his relationship? That mistaken notion is completely dismantled here by clearly defining the characteristics of a man of self-realization. This is the entire scope of second chapter. There are 72 shlokas. We'll cover 2 to 3 shlokas every week. That is what we do, because we'll try to deep dive into each shloka. So let's continue with that. Let's continue to the first topic, which is the verse by verse journey. This is the second topic in our book. The title of this section is called Exploring Sankhya Yoga, Shloka by Shloka, verse by verse journey. So now let's get into the first shloka of the second chapter. So let's listen to the chanting, and from where we'll go.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Ath Dvitiyodhyayah Sankhya Yoga. Sanjaya Uvacha. Tam tatha kripaya vishtam ashrupurnakulekshanam Vishidantamidam vakyam uvacha madhusudanaha.
This is the first shloka of the second chapter. Beautiful shloka. So in Sanskrit literature or any literature, there is something called word painting. Usually the painting, what you do, you draw a picture with paints in a canvas. In poetry, what you do is you paint a picture through the words. And that is exactly what Sanjaya does. You know, Sanjaya is the faithful narrator of the Bhagavad Gita. So he is picking up the thread where we left in chapter 1. In chapter 1, the final shloka was what? Arjuna was completely shattered by the situational pressure. He got completely down. He cannot talk. He threw his bow and arrow and he got collapsed. He got an emotional breakdown, a panic attack. That is the situation. And that is what is described by Sanjaya. So this is not an Arjuna's picture. This is a story of each one of us when life situations put pressure on us. So imagine this situation for each one of us, because the Gita is given to such people. If you do not have any problem with the life, if you think that everything is good and clean, we don't need a Bhagavad Gita. Obviously, the Bhagavad Gita is needed for self-realization. But the beauty of the Bhagavad Gita is that this is addressed to a human being. This is addressed to each one of us who are perplexed by the situational pressure of life. So let's try to understand the shloka. Sanjaya Uvacha. Sanjaya observed, or Sanjaya commented based upon the situation. Imagine like a movie, right? The first chapter, the shot was Arjuna got completely collapsed. Now Arjuna is not acting, so somebody else has to describe that. And that is why the situation changed to Sanjaya. So Sanjaya says, what? Tam tatha kripayavishtam ashrupurna akula ikshanam vishidantamidam vakyam uvacha Madhusudana. Krishna, who was patiently listening, in chapter 1, he said half a phrase. See your enemies. That's all he said. Or see your relatives. That is the only phrase he used. And 47 verses was there, and he was patiently listening to Arjuna. He didn't interrupt Arjuna. He didn't say that he is wrong or anything like that. But when Arjuna was collapsed, at that time, Madhusudana, it is the name of Krishna, he spoke. But what before describing Krishna, Sanjaya describes Arjuna's state. He uses 3 phrases. Kripaya avishtam, overwhelmed by compassion. We can translate it as like emotionally completely broken down. Compassion is used here for representing the emotions. When emotions completely take over us, each one of us can close your eyes and think about a situation. Sometimes what happens, the emotional pressure is too much on us. It breaks us completely down. If we have experienced that situation, that is the type of people Bhagavad Gita addressed to, right? Then, Kripaya Vishtam Ashrupurna Akula Ikshanam. Extremely stressed. How that is being described through the words? Ashrupurna, the full of tears, and the anxiety is reflected in the eyes. Akulam means anxiety, eyes means ikshanam. So the eyes fully stressed eye, like you see that stress in his eyes. So Sanjaya is describing Arjuna. Look at the poetic beauty. First one is emotionally broken down, extremely stressed, which is reflected in the eyes. The third one is intellectually he is completely vishidantam, sunk in sorrow. That to that Arjuna, Krishna spoke the following words. This is the literal meaning of the shloka. So don't think that Arjuna was there, he had a problem. Each one of us has this problem. So when we face a situational pressure, this can happen to us, and Bhagavad Gita is taught to that people. Or Bhagavad Gita is taught to each one of us so that we don't get into this situation. These are the 2 key highlights the commentators used to highlight. So if you are frequently experiencing it, Gita is going to get out of it. If you have never experienced, thank God. But Gita is going to make you that bulletproof resilient, so that this type of situation we won't get into. Of course, the problem will be there, but you will be able to navigate smoothly. Last week we said, right, Bhagavad Gita is not going to solve any of the external problem. You will have to solve it, but it is going to make you prepared to deal with that situational pressure. This is, and we put the title for this shloka is, it is a portrait of human challenge. That is what we put in the book. So let's continue. So in our book, you can see the first section as at a glance. In short sentence, in one paragraph, we describe the essence of the shloka. This is an addition we added to the second version of the book. So just read this. So Sanjaya continues to describe the unfolding scene at Kurukshetra to Dhritarashtra. What exactly he is describing? A teary-eyed Arjuna. See, he is gripped by the compassion or the emotions and sorrow, is visibly distressed, because that is the symptoms he is describing. He is completely down and he desperately in need of an intervention. So this moment marks the beginning of the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. The transformative teachings of the Krishna starts with this moment. Krishna was patiently listening, and when the intervention is absolutely needed, he started talking. So this is the spirit of this shloka. So you can see this in the book. This way, if you read this, you get the gist of the shloka, and then you will get into the detailed commentary. So that is the first topic. Now, so in human crisis, this is the turning point. This is the time when the immortals are given by the divine wisdom, historically by Krishna through the Bhagavad Gita, and understand that this Arjuna's problem, like when we encounter like challenges in life, we get perplexed. We don't know what to do. We feel that the entire world is collapsing. Come to Bhagavad Gita. Learn Bhagavad Gita. This is the beauty of the Bhagavad Gita. So this is the solution addressed to the universal human crisis. One thing you need to understand, Shankaracharya repeatedly talk about this in the Bhagavad Gita. My problem may not be A's problem. B's problem may not be C's problem. C may have a financial crisis. B may have a relationship issue. A may have a health issue. So what exactly is the problem that is distressing us is a variable from person to person, and even for one person from time to time. But that I am subjected to suffering, that I am subjected to pressure, that I am subjected to breakdown. That is a common problem. And Krishna is addressing that problem. You will see that throughout the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is not just addressing, okay, you can solve this, you can, how you win this battle of Kurukshetra. He never talks that. That is Arjuna's job. But he is going to say that, how can you tune your mind in such a way that you can face that problem? This is the difference between giving a fish and helping somebody to learn fishing. This is what the way adopted by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. If this was not the approach, Bhagavad Gita was, at best, it is a poetry. It was good. We can read that Arjuna had a problem. Krishna helped to solve him. Good. We can clap the hands and go away. It won't become a life manual for us. Because it is addressing the fundamental human problem, not a specific problem, but that common problem that every human being is subjected to pressure. Every human being is subjected to suffering. That is what is addressed by the Bhagavad Gita. So please keep that in mind always. And then Arjuna's paralysis. This is the mirror of the human crisis. First one is he is emotionally down, right? Kripayāviṣṭam, that is the word used. When the emotions become self-destructive. Emotions are beautiful gift given to us by the God. But what is the problem? When that emotions becomes out of proportions. So Daniel Goleman beautifully describes this in his Emotional Intelligence More Than IQ, that book. He say, when the emotions becomes inappropriate and out of proportion, that very same emotion which can uplift you become a problem. So that emotional collapse. Second problem of Arjuna on each one of us. So this is our problem. When the situation comes in, we becomes emotional collapse, or we are not emotionally intelligent to handle the situational pressure. Second one is intellectually confused. We don't know what is right and what is not right. When a crisis comes in, we find it difficult to make the decision. The third one is we feel our body is shivering. We get anxiety, we get tears, and the body betrays, or the body is going to betray the inner turmoil. It shows what exactly happening. So we are physically down, intellectually confused, emotionally collapsed. This is the symptom of human crisis. And that is what is beautifully described by the shloka. So let's continue. And this is a picture of Arjuna's different state. So we took different point of time, right? So when the war was determined, and second one is coming to the battlefield. Third one is like seeing the opposition army. Finally, what happened? So if you look at the confidence level, as he was approaching the war, the confidence was going up. But when the situational pressure come in, what happened? The very same confident Arjuna was the master of his skills. The confidence got completely down. This is our story. We feel that we can confidently face situation, but when we approach the situation, our confidence goes. The second point is the emotional intelligence. Oh, I'm studying something. I'm very confident. I can face it. When I think in my best moments, I think that, yeah, I can face the life. But when I approach the situational pressure, what is going to happen? Collapses. And the third graph shown here is the stress level. Obviously, there will be some stress, positive stress, when as you are preparing for something. And without that stress, you are useless, right? So you need that basic positive stress for you to move forward. But what is the problem? The stress shoot up. So this is a typical depiction of what happened to Arjuna in the battlefield. And this is what happens to each one of us when we go to a crisis. So this is another way of presenting Arjuna's breakdown. Thanks to Vikrant who put this diagram. So this is a nice picture of what happened to Arjuna. So we'll continue. So this, if you boil this down, what exactly is the cause? One is circumstantial pressure. Forget Arjuna. Think about us now. Unexpected life twist that can completely derail us, right? So career shocks, family crisis. There are different challenges. We think that the life is going so smooth, and one unexpected twist can put us completely down. This is exactly what Arjuna's paralysis. So it's my paralysis. It is my problem. So try to relate that with. Then the emotional clouding, like what happened? The logic is completely gone with a flood of feelings. Just imagine, right? When you get into that situation, too many thoughts comes in, and anything I think is negative. Anger, grief, misplaced compassion, whatever is that emotion, it is going to drive you crazy. Anxiety, depression, all that will come. Third one is that when I am in that moment, a decision paralysis, my intellect stops functioning. This is the human crisis. And this is what is being shown by Sanjaya in the Bhagavad Gita. So think about Arjuna as a prototype of a human being. As I said, I'm repeating that again and again because there is a tendency for people to relate this as Arjuna's problem. No, this is my problem. This is each one of your problem. circumstantial pressure, emotional clouding, and decision paralysis. This happens to each one of us. This is the next point. And finally, the next point is, couple of points. The first one is that Krishna was completely paused. He was transformative, meaning he was paused before speaking. He kept quiet. So let Arjuna fully express all his problem from Shloka 128 to 47, right? Second one is the art of listening. You can learn that from Krishna. He never interrupted or never judges Arjuna's despair so far. So the point is, wisdom only enters when the storm is acknowledged. Without that acknowledgement, the wisdom will not come. Then you have to wait for the right moment to speak. And he waited till 2.1. And finally, this is, you can see a lot of parallels in modern leadership. Great coaches, therapists mirrors this patience. The space between the crisis and clarity is where the transformation is going to come. When Arjuna was talking, Krishna interrupted him. Okay, I know what is the problem. That will not work. So you need to learn this from Bhagavan Krishna. And that is why he is called Yogeshwara. So interestingly, the name used by Sanjaya to address Krishna is a beautiful name. It is called Madhusudana. Madhusudana. So in Bhagavad Gita, Vyasa uses brilliantly different names to describe Arjuna, Krishna, and everyone. And each of these names are context sensitive. It will be pretty much related to the context. So Madhu means honey. Literally, it means honey. What is the characteristics of the honey? It is very tasty, but it is very sticky. So what happens? Sometimes these insects, when they come to drink the honey, they got attracted by the honey. Finally, what happened? They get stuck into that and they cannot get out of it. So honey symbolically represents the binding attachments. And Krishna is considered as the one who is help you to transcend the honey. And this blind attachment is symbolically represented by a demon called Madhu and Kaitaba. Krishna is supposed to have destroyed them. When Krishna destroys them, it means his teachings can help you to get out of this binding attachment. He is a liberator from the self-created prisons. Attachment is good, but binding attachment is not good. Binding attachment means emotionally dependent upon a person or a situation or a place or outcome. You want that, you love a person, that is fine. You are connected with a person, that is fine. But if every welfare of myself or my complete happiness is entirely dependent upon that person or that situation and that struggle, it's a problem. And Krishna is the one who can help to transcend that, go beyond that. You will love that person much more and you will have a better relationship when you have that detached attachment. And look at modern psychology, books after books coming on this. So Krishna is the one who is giving that, and hence he is called as Madhusudana. So when you study Bhagavad Gita, each of these books, that's why you have to unpack and deep dive into each of these shlokas. The book covers all these points. So that is another point on Shloka 1. Last point. Next point is, are we ready? Because whether we like it or not, life is a battle. Arjuna's crisis exposes a universal truth. Even the greatest warrior, without right preparation and right skill set, they will find it difficult to manage that life. Arjuna at Kurukshetra is us at our life crossroad. And what is the universal deficiencies? Emotional intelligence, clarity in chaos, detachment from outcome. Because of that, we get suffering. So just a mirror for each one of us. Are you like Arjuna? Are you get frozen in front of the situation? Are you subjected to emotional breakdown? Do you find it difficult in intellectually making decisions at tough time? Do you experience the physical stress? If that is the case, you need to get ready and prepare or acquire the right skills to face your life. And Bhagavad Gita is that manual of life which is going to get you ready to face the life. So every chapter, every shloka, we give something called a reflective prompt. This is for you to go back and think next 1 week. So here the first prompt is reflect on a time when your emotions overwhelmed your judgment. In that point, you made some impulsive actions and turn out to be, meaning did ever the impulsive action turn out to be your best interest? Imagine somebody said something, I got so upset, I said something which spoiled the relationship. So when you are under emotional pressure, look at your action and was that action helpful to you? This is the prompt. Let's just think of it. And you don't need to share. It is for each one of us to self-reflect. This is the takeaway message. Finally, there is a quote. Like every shloka, we give one quote. Understand that when fear clouds in the mind and chaos reigns, just quieten your mind and listen to that whisper of Krishna, which you study as Bhagavad Gita. It is going to guide us from confusion to clarity. This is a time-tested message. So that covers the first shloka. And now you understand why I said like we can cover only 2 to 3 shlokas because we are unpacking every word and deep diving into this. Now, second shloka. So this is where Krishna is going to talk. Let's listen.
श्रीभगवानुवाच कुतस्त्वाकश्मलमिदं विषमे समुपस्थितम् अनार्यजुष्टमस्वर्ग्यम् अकीर्तिकरमर्जुन.
So Krishna begins his teaching with this famous shloka. This shloka 2 and 3 are one of the favorite shlokas of Swami Vivekananda. He used to quote this left and right. And interestingly, this shloka 2 and 3 is not his teaching at all. Why? It's a common psychology. When somebody is emotionally down, do you think that a spiritual solution is going to help them immediately? Shankaracharya comments, an emotional problem immediately need an emotional treatment. Once the person is ready to listen, then only you can give the higher spiritual teaching. This is very important. So first 2 shlokas Krishna is going to talk is an emotional treatment. And depending upon the situation and the type of personality, that emotional treatment will vary. If it is a small child crying, the emotional treatment would be a hug. But you watch a basketball game or a cricket game, when somebody is like a broken down, have you listened to the coach's speeches? How do they emotionally stimulate? Very harsh language. Look at the NBA games. Look at the coach just shouts. That is the strategy. So imagine Arjuna is sitting like that. In the middle of a battle, an army man, he needs an emotional treatment right now. And had it been a child, had it been somebody else, the treatment would have been very different. So the 2 points. One is an emotional problem needs an emotional treatment immediately. Point. This is what the approach of Bhagavad Gita, and this is what the approach of modern times also. Second thing is that Depending upon the type of situation, in an army field, in a high intense game, the treatment would be totally different from that of a teacher or a child or a different thing. So here, see that. Sri Bhagavan Uvaja. So see Bhagavan, Krishna said, what is that? Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupastidam anaryam ajushtyam asurgyam akirtikaram Arjuna. The first thing is an emotional thing. He said, Oh Arjuna, and imagine that it is addressing to each one of us. Oh child, what is that? From where this weakness, Kashmalam means weakness, came upon you, and what time? Vishame samapastidam. It was okay when you were sitting relaxed, this particular thought came in. It is okay because you can afford to do that. Now you are facing the most important battle of your life. You are placing the most important game of your life, right? You cannot afford to fall back. I remember reading Mahendra Singh Dhoni's biography in 2011 World Cup when we lost all the wickets. This is what he said. This is the time I cannot afford to fall back weak. I need to leave all the outcomes, go out. That's exactly what it is. So this critical moment, you cannot afford to have this weakness. And this behavior of you is not suitable for what? Anaryam, ajushtyam. Ajushtyam means unbecoming of ārya. Ārya means a noble person. This behavior is not suitable for an ārya. He didn't say that you are not a noble person. He said that your behavior, the behavior you are showing here, is not suitable for a noble person. And this behavior is neither going to help you, asorgyam, to get a better experience of life, akirtikaram, it is not going to bring you any honor or prosperity. Only disgrace it will bring. That's what the message is. Very important. When you talk to children, when you talk to your employees, when you talk to anybody, don't brand them as bad. If a particular behavior is not good, just say that this particular act doesn't suit you. That is what he tells in the next shloka. So much psychologically valuable. So this is his initial message. Let's try to understand a little bit more. So the capturing the spirit of the shloka. So Krishna directly challenges Arjuna's sudden weakness and emotional breakdown at a critical moment, stressing that this behavior of unworthy of a noble person. He didn't say that Arjuna is not a noble person. He said that this behavior is unworthy of a noble person and will lead only to disgrace, not honor. And he also reminds Arjuna that, and each one of us, yielding to despair will not solve any problem, will not bring him happiness, success, or fame. This is a wake-up call, urging Arjuna and all of us to rise above our emotions and act with strength and determination. This is the message. So let's see. So Arjuna's state was like he was paralyzed by sentiment and he was deaf to any genuine wisdom. So just like an athlete frozen at the starting whistle, what the commander will do, he will just go and shout at him. That is exactly what Krishna did. Even though a little bit of harsh word, kashmalamidam, it is a love, but it is needed for a warrior heart. And contrast, Shankaracharya clarifies this very immediately. Had it been a child, it would have been a hug and a kiss. And you see that in later part of the like Bhagavatam and all. Krishna approaches different type of emotional problem. Sometimes he go and give a hug. Sometimes he go and talk to him gently. Sometimes he address Arjuna like this. So this is the skill of a teacher. So the next one is, he said, kashmalamidam. Kashmalamidam means the weakness. This weakness is disgrace. It is disgrace to one's dharma. This is not suitable to you. Anāryajuṣṭam. Because this behavior is not good for a noble person. And then Vishame samupastidam. These are the three technical terms he used. One is kashmalamidam, it is the weakness. Anāryajuṣṭam means it is the not the behavior of a noble person. Vishame samupastidam means it is the urgency of the crisis which demands action. So that's what it is. So in your life, when you have needed a wake-up call, sometimes somebody like addresses it harshly, it is going to help you to move ahead. And you can see that is what is going to happen to Arjuna. So leadership lessons. So Arjuna, meaning if you take the Arjuna's paralysis to the modern executive boardrooms, right? Like sometimes we are missed opportunities, high stake boardroom meetings. We are Kurukshetra, like we are at the launch of a product release. Sometimes something happens. We get completely perplexed and paralyzed. Like a good CEO at that point of time, he will call out, this hesitation dishonors our mission. This is in the standard we built, and market won't wait for our emotions. And this is very good to apply, like when the star performers underperform, like crisis turnaround moments. This is the type of talk the CEOs used to give. Legacy protection scenarios. So these type of situation, this is management lesson, right? So I'm just trying to relate with the Gita with that management lesson. This is what happens. And then there is a word used in this shloka, ārya, because that can create sometimes confusion. A lot of people mistake this word ārya to the Aryan superiority theory of Hitler. And we all know that that is ridiculous. And this is not Aryan Dravidian division or anything like that. To understand Gita, you need to understand the word, how it is used in Gita or in our Sanskrit literature. So just to clarify your point, we explained this in the book also in detail. The definition of ārya is given. The definition of ārya is, I am quoting the Sanskrit not to show that we are not bluffing. That is why. It's a kartavyan acharan dharma. Karma. Akartavyam anacharan. Tishtati prakritachari. Sa va ārya iti smritayaha. Ārya is defined by the Sanskrit literature as the one who does what needs to be done and the one who avoids what must not be done. And he firms in dharma and conducts what is to be done. Any such people are known as ārya. So it's not the name of a race. It is a definition given to a standard. This is the definition of ārya. So the key traits of ārya, because you can see this is not the Nazi ideology we are talking. We are only talking about the key traits of an ārya. He acts without any hesitation. He rejects the personal dislikes as drivers. Like when I feel what is to be done versus what needs to be done. I want to sleep, but I don't want to work out. So what I feel to do, what I need to do, when they differ, he or she always go and do what needs to be done or what feels to be done. And always uphold dharma. Dharma means doing what needs to be done. This is the ārya and a clarification. This is very important because sometimes people get carried away with some wrong meaning. Another point is this, all the Sanskrit literature, it is not used as a Nazi. Like the husband is used to call as āryaputra. Wife is used āryaputri. So like that, ārya means it is dear noble one. That's all. And Bhagavan Buddha, almost all his teachings are known as Arya Satyani. Arya Satyani, that is the name of his teachings. So neither Buddha nor Krishna, they never meant any Nazi ideology or the hatred ideology. The problem is in 19th century, these racial theories came in, Nazi propaganda was there, and that is not what is meant here. We need to have 100% clarity on that. So the word anāryajuṣṭam means it is unworthy of noble-minded. So you can see in Bhagavad Gita, the nobility lies in action, not in ancestry, commented by Shankaracharya. The nobility lies in one's own action, not in the ancestry. I cannot claim that my ancestors were king or good teachers. So I cannot claim that. My nobility comes with my action. So please keep that in mind. So Aryan superiority theory, which claims that Aryans were superior and other races has to be eliminated, that has no place in this. Sometimes people mixes this. So one more clarification. So that is the next point we wanted to clarify. And the call for nobility is what is in this shloka. So this unworthy of this, meaning this behavior is not worth. So rise above through discipline. And this is not a birthright. Each one of us need to put effort. So aswargyam, the word people can interpret it as like going to heaven. First of all, heaven is not a place. It is a mental state. And I'm in that happy mood, I'm heaven. So aswargyam means like the karmic consequences, which determines my next birth. That is not going to be good if I don't act. Akirtikaram, the worldly benefit. I'm going to put my stakes or honor at stake if I don't do what needs to be done in a crisis. So that's why Krishna uses all these points. So in our battlefield of life, where are you? Are you letting the despair cloud over the duty? Are you mistaking comfort for nobility? So this is very important. So we need to take this in our life. So the reflective prompt here is reflect on an instance when you are emotionally paralyzed and someone or something jolted you back to reality and the right action. Take a moment to offer gratitude for that intervention. Because imagine, I have several examples in my life when I was like sometimes completely down. You could see that just like Krishna sent some people, or sometimes it might be sometimes a conversation in a movie, or sometimes a situation happened in front of you. It triggers you back, and that is reflect on that and take a moment to offer the gratitude. That is the reflective prompt here. And the quote here is, awaken from despair, for courage and clarity await your command. So when you are in despair, we need to put effort to get out of that. First of all, when you are not in that state, you need to learn the art of living. And then when you are in this crisis, use that skill. It's like learning swimming. When you are getting into an accident in a river, that time you cannot swim, learn to swim. Learn the swimming earlier so that you can swim when it requires. So this is the two shlokas. And the recap, this Krishna's message is equally applicable to all type of people in the modern society. The first one is human crisis is portrayed through Arjuna's paralysis, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. It mirrors our battle with the life situations. Krishna's intervention, first he wanted to emotionally intervene. So it's not a comfort, but truth. So through tough love, the purpose is breaks that emotional hijack, reignites that warrior dharma in Arjuna and each one of us. And this is a lesson for the leaders when to deploy this battlefield leadership. There is a leadership style. And I already explained when you deploy that. For seekers, how to sport this binding attachment, Madhu, because Krishna is addressed as Madhusudana. And for all, the standard of ārya, the nobility through action, my own karma, not through the birthright or ancestry. So this is the lesson 2, meaning the wake-up call.